As a young professional starting out in my career, it is my biggest desire to work on gaining financial freedom. I've left my country, Zimbabwe. It is very critical for me to save as much as I possibly can to make sure that I set myself up for a much better life in the next coming years. Today, I'll be sharing with you guys my money saving tips. I save roughly between 40 to 50% of my income each and every month. Some months I may have some emergencies that I need to take care of. But at a minimum, I just told myself that I need to save at least 40%. And some months I may not have any things that may just come up that I need to take care of urgently. So I then managed to save about 50%. Anyone finds this useful at the end of the video, you can be able to implement some of these things in your own personal budgeting, managing your own personal finances type of thing. So the first point is have financial goals, have smart financial goals. By smart, we mean specific goals, measurable goals, attainable goals, realistic goals, and time-based goals. So it does not help you to say you want to save. What are you saving for? Attach the act of you trying to save your money to something, to say, okay, maybe I'm saving for a house deposit, or maybe I'm saving to buy a car, or maybe I'm saving for a holiday, whatever that thing that you definitely want to do. So for me, my savings are attached to certain things that I want to do personally, and from there, that's how I managed to work backwards to say, how much money do I need for me to be able to do how much money do I need to do XYZ, and then that helped me to determine how much money I would need to save. And having a time frame as well to your goals is good because it helps you mentally, because if you know how long you need to be saving so much and being so frugal so much and depriving yourself of so many luxuries, it needs to be within a certain time frame. You know that you're just holding on maybe for 6 months, maybe just for 1 year, maybe just for 2 years, but afterwards you know that it'll get better. So I think it's good to also make sure that you put a time to it. And then the next thing, that I have a budget that I use. And if you're someone who maybe you don't have a budget yourself, personally I use a zero-based budget principle. What this means is I know what my income is, I know what money I get in my bank account each and every month, and I have like allocations of like to say, in this particular bucket or in this particular category, this is my rent, this is for my bills, this is for my food, this is for my utilities, this is for entertainment. Helps you to track and know where exactly your money is going. This is definitely something basic, we all know about it, but it's very important to make sure that you implement a budget and definitely follow through in your budget. The next point is I start by putting my money into my savings before I spend it. I believe in paying myself first. Other people would argue that you need to save what's left after you've spent. I don't do that. Personally, I'm happier knowing that I've done my savings bit before I start spending anything else, to take myself out of the equation and not have to rethink my decision to say, do I really want to save money this month? Of course, theoretically I want to save, but practically I actually wish I could be spending that money and doing some shopping. So I do have my main savings account. It's definitely separate from the account that I use for my transactions, and I do have small other sinking funds for different various activities or different various things that I'm also saving towards. But I'm happier when I save first before I spend. Moving on, I take a week before I make any large purchases. I try to not buy anything that's above £50 impulsively. I need to think about it. If I really need it, can I get it for cheaper? Can I a dupe or something that is like a much cheaper version of that particular thing that I need? I don't buy things like off the spot, and I've tried to also stay away from doing so much online shopping. At this point in time, it has gotten to the extremes of even like not having Amazon Prime, because personally I got to a point where I told myself I don't want to do online shopping, and I even stopped using Amazon because I had this thing where I'll just like buy something from Amazon for like £4 and buy something from Amazon for like £8. Like randomly. I could do that literally almost every day. But now I'm now at a point where I've told myself that I'm not going to be buying anything from Amazon. So I've even cut out the Amazon Prime subscription. I don't have it. I don't pay for it, so that it leaves me that room to think about what I actually want to buy. And when I want something, I'll just go to the shop and I'll buy it after I've definitely made sure to make my decision with my own shopping list, where I'm saying yes, I'm buying this sort of. I have also cancelled any subscriptions I did not use that much, and also I've considered splitting some of my subscriptions as well. For instance, with my Spotify subscription, I share that with my friends. We got like a family Spotify subscription. So I think I pay about £3, which is very, very reasonable. It could have been maybe £10 if I was doing it by myself. And so definitely splitting subscriptions that you use with your friends. And as far as some subscriptions go, if you're not using it more than 5 times in a month, can you really justify having that particular subscription? You may need to cancel it. So that's what I've done. I've definitely cleared out my subscriptions and cancelled what I was not using and split the ones that I use. So the next point, I've now also started to switch up like the places where I do my grocery shopping. In this month, I started buying things from Lidl. I never used to buy from Lidl. I always used to buy stuff from Sainsbury's. Literally, I only bought stuff from Sainsbury's and Tesco sometimes, but now I'm starting to also buy things from other shops, and I've gotten to realize you can save so much. Personally, there's some things that I don't really care about the brand, like things like rice, whatever, washing powder. Like, I just want something that works. I really do not care about the brands. I think the only things that I'm particular about is where I buy my meat. I'm still just buying meat from Sainsbury's and maybe Farmers Butcheries, but other than that, I can buy anything else from other shops. And for the last month, I bought groceries from Lidl for about £17, which was a lot of stuff. And I also bought stuff from Sainsbury's, which was just for my meat things, and that came to about £14. For other convenience things that may have run out, I would go and do some shopping from Co-op. And this month as well, in total, I spent about £40 at Co-op, which is definitely a lot of money. I think I should try and plan for my grocery shopping. Sometimes I don't always want to go and do my shopping to the supermarket, so I just end up buying at Co-op, which makes it a bit expensive, but it's still within my budget anyway, so I'm not too concerned about that. And then I did also maybe buy a few items out, like fish and chips one other day, and I bought Wenzel's one other day as well. My total budget came to about £82 for food this month. So, and for me, my allocation for food is £100, and I can definitely live with knowing that I've spent £82 this month. Which brings me to the next point. Practice living way below your means. You do not always need to adjust your lifestyle. You don't always need to keep up with the Joneses. You do not always need to have an Instagrammable and perfect life. For instance, with my food budget, I could even manage to make it a little bit larger than it is, but it's not necessary. I'm trying to keep my costs at a minimum. As long as I have the necessities that I need, I'm cutting out anything that's non-essential. If it's something that will not improve my future, or if it's something that will not help me to make money in the next maybe a year or two, I'm not spending on it. If it's not a need, or if it's not an investment into my future self, or if it's not a need, and if it's not an investment into my future self, like this year I've tried so much to make sure that I classify what is a need and what is a want, like to the deepest level, and understand what I definitely need to be buying, what I don't need to be buying. And I've also delayed like gratification on other luxuries that I wish I had, but I'm not going to be buying them because I'm trying to save as much as I possibly can. And the next thing is, as much as I've cut out things in my life as well, I still do budget for entertainment. So budget for entertainment, I've cut out things that I felt like were non-essentials, but if it's something that makes me happy, I've used a reduction principle, not an elimination. Let's say maybe, for instance, maybe to put this into an example, for instance, you're someone who loves coffee, right? And maybe you get a coffee, I don't know, I'm not a coffee person, but let's say you get a Starbucks coffee maybe for £3 each and every day. You may not always need to like cut out to say I'm not going to have coffee at all. You may now maybe start having coffee like twice a week. The next point is start cooking out your own meals at home. You do not always need to be ordering takeout every week. Uber and Deliveroo, they are definitely not your friends. Personally, I do not have those apps. I've told myself that convenience is not my best friend. I can't do well having Deliveroo, having Uber Eats right in my fingertips. I need to think about the decision of going to buy something. If I'm going to eat out, I'm definitely going to go to that particular restaurant and order food. But I'm not always going to have a delivery food app because I feel like you may easily fall into the trap of starting to order food a little bit more. As much as I'm not a chef, I definitely don't do Gordon Ramsay recipes. Whatever I just make at home, I can definitely eat it. It's fine, like I can definitely eat it. So get full benefits from assets that you use before you purchase the next one. Personally, I am that person who uses my phone until it's working at an angle. I am that person who uses my phone for more than 4 years until it's not charging anymore. That's when I'll go to the shop and say I now need to change my phone because it cannot take it anymore. But if you think about it, like, do you always really need to have a new or the latest iPhone that just came out? Because you cannot keep up with technology. Technology moves at a much faster pace than we can keep up. You need to be very rich for you to continuously upgrade your phone like that. I'm also someone who makes sure to eat all the food that's in the house before I go for the next shopping round. This is something my African mother really understood. We would always make sure that before you go to the shops, we take an inventory check of what we have in the drawers, what we have in the fridge, and then make a list of what's finished. So we never have to buy like 2 things of the same thing which you still have at home, because that's just tying up funds. So before I go to do my shopping, I make sure to write a list of what is finished. Those are the things that I'll now buy. And I'm also trying to avoid having to waste any food. The next point is I've stopped buying things simply because they are on sale. This is something I struggled with when I first came to the UK. Like sometimes I would have maybe subscribed to certain newsletters and then you just see an email pop up saying maybe 50% sale at Zara and you're like, oh my god, like 50%, look at this stuff, it's so cheap. Like you just start buying stuff that you don't always need because Zara has a sale. I'm having to like stop myself to say, you know what, you don't always need to buy stuff because it's on sale. If I don't need it, if it's something that I haven't been tracking, is something that I needed to purchase over months, I do not need to just buy because Zara has a sale. Now that I've told you all of my tips, the last point that I have is ignore the noise from people around you, from friends, from family, and just focus on your financial goals. I've heard to be in situations where you get some backlash where people say you're cheap, people say you are stingy, or like there's so many different things that people can say to you. Your friends can even say, or you aren't as fun to hang out with because you're, I don't know, like budgeting way too much. But no, you are the only one who knows what you're trying to do, and your finances are your responsibility. No one will do it for you. If you didn't have a grandma Dorothy who left you like a trust fund, or you don't have anything, if you are someone who is just starting from scratch or from ground zero, it's your responsibility to build your own finances and get yourself in a much better financial position. It's only for a little while, it will get better eventually. I'll stop doing whatever, like being way too cheap eventually at a certain. So that is it, guys, for me on the tips that I'm using to save between about 50% every month. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed and you're seeing me for the first time, please do subscribe to the channel. Join the family which is growing, and I'll see you in the next one, and take care.